My name is John Marmara. I currently live in Maruka, Brisbane. I'm 67 years old. I used to be a lawyer and I trekked in Nepal first time 40 years ago, which is now what? In 1987, I was there for about 2 months. I trekked the Annapurna circuit and then I went to the sanctuary. It was there that I actually met my wife. I met a woman who I'm at Pokhara, and from there we trekked together for 21 days, and it was an easy place to fall in love with. Nepal was magic. Every day was different. It was a special place. I think everyone who travels together in Nepal falls in love. And I went again 6 years ago to work for an educational recruitment company. And yeah, there was places I'd never seen before. Going to the jungle with elephants, and we didn't do the elephant tour, to see the rhinos, but the city was full of elephants and people riding elephants. So it was magical. I was traveling for 4 years, and on my way home from America and Africa, I decided I would go and see India and Asia. I always wanted to see Nepal. So I've always heard it was a special place. I knew the hippies founded in the 1970s and loved it, and they had cake there, which is one of those places that didn't have cake. Because a lot of those places when you're traveling through, especially in Asia, they didn't cater to Westerners. But Kathmandu, for whatever reason, when the hippies went there, they stayed and they actually made cake. So you could go to a coffee shop and have cake, and I really miss cake. And of course, I wanted to see the mountains, and everyone knows about the mountains in Nepal. However, most of my time I spent in Pokhara. I started my trek in Pokhara and I ended my trek in Pokhara. And the villages up through the mountains in the Annapurna circuit, I went to all of them. I did the Annapurna circuit, and then later on, my girlfriend at the time, who I met in Nepal, who was French, she went back to Kathmandu, and I wanted to see the sanctuary because I heard the sanctuary was magic, and it was gorgeous. It was an extra, I think, 3 days to get there and back. And I did Dinkenspule, I think, which is sort of a relatively close village, and somehow I just found out that the Dalai Lama lives there now. So I didn't get to see him. That was 40 years ago. But every day in Nepal was magic and different. I'll tell you something different. I've never done that before. 6 years ago when I went to Nepal, I did paragliding just outside of Pokhara. And I sort of did that, and that was, as an experience, that was probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever done. Nepalese people are incredible. Very friendly, very giving, very happy. Oh, you just notice that about Nepalese people. In the middle, on the trek in the Annapurna thing, we came across these men that were actually shooting bows. And I think they were Tibetans. It was a village made up of Tibetans. And I tried to photograph them, and they pointed the arrow at me, trying to sort of threaten me not to take a photo. But it turned out my girlfriend at the time, the French woman who I ended up marrying, one of the boys came up to her, and he'd cut his leg with an axe, and she treated his leg. And they were so grateful that they threw a party for us the next day and gave us, wine, and threw a party. It was just fantastic. And so this village that initially was hostile was incredibly beautiful experience for us. And I saw this beautiful woman. Lisa's 10 years older than me, but she's beautiful. She was beautiful, and she was pushing a bike. And I actually asked her for directions to this place, and she couldn't speak a word of English, but she understood what I was trying to say, and she was trying to tell me in French where to go, and I couldn't understand the word she was saying. But I thought, wow, she's gorgeous. And I tried to explain to her the next day I was going to the lake in Pokhara, and I was going to take a boat. I was doing everything was in sign language, and she understood. I said 2 o'clock, and we met at the lake, and we spent the day together, and she was trekking with another German girl, and I sort of invited her to come with me to trekking, and she didn't want to. But 2 days later, she ended up taking the long route, and I took a shortcut. No, it's the wrong way around. She took the shortcut and I took the long route, and we met up. And I met Lise at a waterfall, She was washing her hair and she had this way of shaking her head, and there was a bridge from one side of the river to the other. There was a river separating us, and sort of I called out to her and she sort of looked, and she knew I was behind her, and she sort of waved to me and I sort of pointed to the bridge, and we sort of came back, met at both ends of the bridge and walked right into the center of the bridge, and we hugged. And then we just walked together for the rest of the trip. It was gorgeous. And 3 months after we met, we got married in Bali. When you go into them, you know, on the trek, it's all dal bhat. I like dal bhat. Challenge, well, you know, every day is hard. You know, you get up and you start early. The pass, Torin Pass, I think that was a challenge because you started off at 4 o'clock in the morning to get over the mountain pass. To get over the mountain pass, it was snowing. My wife was, she ended up getting in front of me and she was trying to race me up to the pass, and all of a sudden she disappeared. And there was like a cloud bank went over the trail, and she ended up taking the wrong trail. And all I could hear was, John, John. Anyway, so she saw me through the clouds on occasion, gone the wrong way. And she was guided back by a Sherpa, but it's quite a dangerous place, and eventually we met up. It was a frightening experience for her, at least we'll tell you about it. Nothing overly challenging, you know, because people with disabilities walk that track, you know. And unfortunately I've been told the track doesn't exist anymore because now there's a road there. But when I went there, it was just a track with yaks on it. You know, there was yaks, which was incredible. I loved it. My 21 days on that trek, yeah, started Pokhara and 21 days through the mountains and over Torin Pass and past Mukdana. That's one place I always wanted to go. They were in bloom at the time, and there's all these huge rhododendron, like big trees, 30 foot high, in flower, different colours. It was just incredible. It's one of those few magical places left on earth, I reckon. I have a friend who runs a trekking company who takes a lot of Australians up there. You know, so yeah, there's trekking companies out there, and you know, you know, go explore Nepal. It's just an incredible place. In the future, look, I would like to go to Nepal every year if I could. You know, there's all these other new trails that are opening up, different cultures. Every village has its own feel about it, and they even sort of dress differently. So yes, I'd love to go to Nepal. Namaste. Namaste. That's all I can remember. Because everyone spoke English there. It was really easy. It's an easy place to trek through and travel through. My best photographs I had were given to a friend of mine. He put on a slideshow and he lost my slides. So I have these amazing photos, but I've got a few on my Facebook page, and my wife sort of kept some, but all my good ones are gone, you know, unfortunately. So I have to go to Nepal now and retake all those photos. One more time. Yeah, oh look, you know, in Kathmandu it's quite complex. I didn't have a map, so I would sort of know the direction I sort of wanted to go to, and you know, I sort of knew where my hotel was vaguely. So no, people will help you, and like I said, Kathmandu is magical. It's an incredible city. You know, Kathmandu is older than most European capitals. You know, so it's the architecture is incredible. You know, people are friendly. The food's good. It's very cheap still. You know, the food was good. I lost weight, but everyone loses weight because, you know, you're fat when you go there. You walk every day. So if you want to get fit, go to Nepal. You know, and I can't say it strongly enough. It's one of those magic places on earth. People are beautiful, easy to travel through. You know, you fall in love with Nepal. Fall in love in Nepal. That's what happened to me. I fell in love with a woman. Bit disappointed with Pokhara. Pokhara, you know, I love Pokhara in the sense that it's a starting point. But when I was there 40 years ago, it was a village with two-story houses at the most. And now there's 5-story buildings there, and it's quite modern. But when I went there, it was like a little sleepy village. You know, not lovely little houses, you know, the guest rooms, but now it's like a metropolis. It's actually more modern than Kathmandu is in a lot of ways. Well, you know what, Kathmandu hardly changed at all, I thought. You know, after 40 years, Kathmandu hardly changed because the centre's the centre. You can't really change the centre of the place, and everything was there. I went after the earthquake and they were still repairing places. That was the difference. Even when you're going through Nepal, Kathmandu now, there's buildings there, it's hard to believe. There's buildings lying over and they're being propped up with sticks, with big logs. And they want to fall down, but they're not going to let them fall down, so they prop them up. And I found that interesting. But, you know, Kathmandu hasn't changed, Pokhara changed.
Thank you for everything, John.
Yes, thank you. Namaste.
Experience the ancient healing of Ayurveda in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. At Vibrant Ayurveda Wellness Center, restore your natural balance and vitality. Holistic wellness starts here. Book now.